On everyone. Week one is officially underway. Both of our teams, Brandon and ourselves, myself, Commanders lost, Ravens lost a little bit more heartbreaking way. I think that might be tougher, but I was really pissed watching my game. We definitely gonna get into it. But how you doing? How you doing today, man?
A little under the weather, but I'm making it. Like you said, it's not a victory Monday for either of our teams. Uh, I think two teams we could have both beat, honestly, but ball didn't drop in our favor, so 0-1 it is. But we'll get to
Yeah, I
y'all's
don't know.
game and who y'all play the following week in a moment. But y'all do got an easy chance to win in week two. We'll get to that later.
Yeah, we definitely will.
All right, everyone, let's get to this opening drive. Dak Prescott, he's now the richest player in NFL history after he signed a 4-year, $240 million deal. News came down just before kickoff on Sunday. Veteran defensive lineman Cam Hayward, he's agreed to a 3-year extension with the Steelers. They showed off as a defense on Sunday. The home of the Cleveland Browns will be called Huntington Bank Field for the next 20 years. Kendrick Lamar, he's been announced as the headliner of the halftime show of Super Bowl 59. Cade York, he's been cut by the Commanders after missing 2 field goals on Sunday.
Good riddance.
All right, everyone. A new lawsuit accuses Deshaun Watson, quarterback of the Browns, of sexual assault and battery. From October in 2020, Watson was a member of the Houston Texans at the time. The union representing Miami-Dade police officers said Tyreek Hill was uncooperative when he was forced to the ground and placed in handcuffs prior to the game Sunday in South Beach. Calais Campbell and Jonnu Smith were also briefly detained by police as well. We'll talk about that a little bit more in a moment. And the Commanders, they fired VP of Content Rael Teen for his comments about Jerry Jones, Roger Goodell, and the team's players being anti-gay. Um, very, very big news week since the last time we met. I guess we'll touch base on this Tyreek Hill situation. We was talking about it um, right before we started recording. How do you feel about that whole situation down there? We just watched the police body cam footage that was released not too long ago.
Yeah, like I was saying to you, if you ain't on that, yes sir, no sir, yes boss, no boss, show any type of resistance, they will make an example out of you and humble you. And that's definitely what they did to Tyreek Hill. I remember he had like a press conference after the game saying like he has respect for cops and he wanted to be like a state trooper growing up. So I don't think he has any malice going in towards the cops, but he definitely wasn't I guess you could say, a good old boy for him. So they definitely got pissed at him and tried to make an example out of him. So I think the situation will blow over in a few weeks. People will, get out of their memories, but definitely not a good look. I don't think for those police officers, just the way they conducted themselves afterwards. I know they wanted to make an example out of him, but they'll probably get some negative press going forward. I believe that officer was placed on one of the officers. I'm not sure which one was placed on administrative leave. I think that's standard procedure, but at the same time, definitely not a good look. And yeah, hopefully this is just a lesson learned for everybody. Just do what they say and go on about your day because they will definitely make you have a bad day if you don't play it like the way they want to. What about you? How you think about it?
For the show, I actually got pulled over in um, I bought my Jeep back in June, the latter part of June, and I got pulled over in Waldorf the week after. Come find out, the dealership gave me illegal paper tags. They're supposed to start with a letter as opposed to a number. So I remember I got through the traffic light and I saw this cop come out from the heading northbound, coming out. Cop came out and I was in the middle lane. So I saw him get behind me. So I'm like, well, let me just get over to the right so he can go on past me. And then he goes behind me. So I'm like, oh shit, what I do now? So I thought it was the tent. Puts his lights on, pulls me over, and like I was telling you, I kept my hands on the steering wheel because, like you said, if you don't yes sir, no sir, or you make any sudden movements or anything like that, you in trouble. But he was real cool about it. Um, yeah, I think unfortunately Tyreek, it didn't go in his favor as soon as he put that window up, and like it's like if you pop uh, that trigger, you pop that blood vessel in their head. You know, the littlest thing that'll piss them off. They could be having any type of day. They could be on their way off of a 12, 18-hour shift. Who knows? And or it could just be a prick. You know what I'm saying? You could just be dealing with an asshole of an officer. But when Tyreek put that window up, man, that seemed to set everything off. Um, because besides the fact that when he told him to get out the car first, um, apparently he was on the phone with Drew Rosenhaus's agent and he didn't get out the car fast enough. And then they told him, say, we're not playing this game today. Get out the car. And then Tyreek put up the window and it was it from there. And yeah, it just got worse from there. So, like you said, it'll blow off in a couple weeks. I honestly think it'll blow off by Thursday night because they do play on Thursday night against the Bills. So it'll be a little bit of pregame. Um, and they're not going to get as many questions from the media this week because they got a short week, so it's not as much. I guess you could say, besides the post game and probably the pregame, what Wednesday sit down with the media, it shouldn't be too much. But best of luck to him. Like you said, hopefully sets example to all of our young men of color. Do right, and then do what you need to do when you get pulled over, and be smart. You know what I'm saying? So we don't end up with any situation that could be worse, for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
All right. So before we turn the page, we set an NFL record last year in Week 1 with black quarterbacks to start, and I just saw a couple days before the season start, we had 15 um, black quarterbacks set to start in Week 1. I don't have the whole list in front of me, but we saw it was headlined by the first two nights: Mahomes, Jackson, Love, and Hurts, and it went on and on. Brissett, Watson, just a few to name. So shout out to them, and then also um, can't forget about the women, which I didn't realize it was so many full-time women coaches in the NFL. I'll just read a few of them. Angela Baker, she was the Giants' offensive assistant to coach. Um, Unfortunately for her, it wasn't a good offensive day there in New York. Jennifer King, former Commanders, running back assistant coach. She's now with the Bears. She had a pretty good day. Amelia Wilson, the Bills fellowship coach. Two Ravens female assistant coaches I didn't even know we had on our roster. Shout out to them. Excuse me, we have three of them. See now, assistant strength and conditioning coaches, three of them. And then let's do one more. Isabel Diaz, the Colts special teams coaching fellow. So yeah, it's about a good 15. It looks like um, female women coaches, assistant coaches in the National Football League. Shout out to the black coaches and shout out to the women that are low key making moves in the National Football League. Turning our attention though to the Tampa Bay Commanders at Bucks. It was a 37-20, I believe, victory for the um, Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And as you have below our heads, below our faces, they whooped the Commanders there in the season debut. I'm going to turn uh, the attention to you, the guy that the Commanders fan.
Yeah,
What happened?
man. Uh, Same shit, just a different day. I think I saw something that was like the seventh or sixth or seventh straight game of us giving up like 27 straight points or more than 27
Yep.
points. So the defense definitely is looked as bad as they did last year, where we were last in points allowed and last in yards given or something like that. Baker Mayfield, I don't know if he oiled himself in grease before the game, but it seemed like every time the defensive line got a hold of him, he would somehow slither out of it. Uh, Same for just about everybody on the Tampa Bay offense. We would get pressure, we would get in the backfield, but more times than none, they would break a tackle and get positive yardage. Bucky Irvin, the rookie running back they got, it seemed like he was going through the whole like he was shot out of a cannon with the burst he had running the ball. And then Rashad White, man, every time they threw him the ball like a screen pass, he was just getting positive yards. Same for Chris Godwin. I texted a couple folks. I swear, I think the Bucks, they could have ran screen passes literally every play if they wanted and got positive yards, because they would either break a tackle or it was just we would be nowhere to be found. The blocks would just be perfect for them, and they would get positive yardage. Emmanuel Forbes, I'm praying for you, man. I think it's going to be another long season for you. You had a pass interference call on you. You got beat on a double move by that rookie Jalen McMillan. Only reason they didn't score a touchdown because of the pass interference he gave. But the defense as a whole, man. Only thing I saw that was positive was Jamin Davis. They moved him from the linebacker. Think they're going to start playing him as an edge rusher a little bit more. I think that might work out good for him as far as extending his career, because he was definitely not the best linebacker we had. Bobby Wagner, I was excited about the addition in the offseason and going into the preseason. I thought he would help shore up the defense, but he looked kind of old out there. There's a couple plays where he missed tackles, but just wasn't in the play. He did make some plays too. I remember he had back-to-back tackle for losses or stopped them in the backfield. So, it is week one. I don't want to overreact too much, but I am going to overreact. The defense, man, please, y'all got to do better. Mike Evans was just great. Baker Mayfield threw a party on y'all. Like I said, you can see in the stats down there, 4 total touchdowns. Chris Godwin caught a touchdown. The rookie receiver, Jalen McMillan, caught a touchdown. That Mike Evans had 2 touchdowns. So I'm not happy with the defense at all. You mentioned Cade York got cut. I saw the 2 field goals. I remember he was going up for the first field goal attempt. They said this was his first field goal attempt since 2022. And I was just thinking to myself, man, he about to miss this shit. And that's exactly what happened. He missed it. The first one was a 47-yarder. The second one was about 50-plus yards. So I was like, yeah, there's no chance of hell he's making this one either. I'm surprised he even made the goddamn point after the touchdown, the PAT, to be honest with you, because I had no confidence in him whatsoever. To the offensive side of the ball, Jaden Daniels, I mean, fantasy-wise, he did real good. If you have him on your fantasy football team, he did great. Offensive-wise, I mean, he's better than what we had last year because the offensive line is still, having issues with protecting him, but he can get out there. That dude is really, really fast. I'm talking about he might be faster than Lamar Jackson. I think he probably is the fastest quarterback we got right now in the league. That dude is fast, man. So yeah. I really like how he can get out there, make plays on his own when the pocket breaks down. I just need to see more from passing the ball. He overthrew receivers. Terry McLaurin didn't get going at all. This might be a long season for him. I think he had 2 catches for like 17 yards. I want to see a little bit more in the passing game with Austin Eckler. He did have 4 catches for 52 yards, but I think he can just check it down a little bit more to him and Brian Robinson, B-Rob, who had a decent day. He wasn't great on the ground. I only think he had like 48 yards rushing, but he was in the passing game as well. But just overall, just reminded me a lot of last year. The only bright note is Jaden Daniels is his scrambling ability. Reminded me a little bit of RG3, but I think he might be even faster than RG3. And he's able to get down. He's not taking hits. Need to work on his sliding technique a little bit. There was a couple of times where he slid or he went down head first or rolling over. I would like to see him just get that technique down just to shore it up some. But so that's the only bright spot was Jaden Daniels and his potential. I think he can have a high ceiling, but other than that, wasn't happy with it. But like I said, I don't want to overact too much. This is just week one, and I do think the Bucks are a really good team. That offense, they got Mike Evans and Chris Godwin, 2 of the best receivers in the league. They definitely showed up. They showed up against our sorry-ass secondary. So, yeah, you got any thoughts on this?
I'm very impressed with the rookie, Jaden Daniels. On his performance, there was 3 rookie quarterbacks that started, and he had the statistically, if I could talk right, the best of the 3. On the road in a very tough place to play down there in Tampa. Use his legs. He's made plays with his arm. I mean, the score doesn't show for it, but he did kind of keep y'all around definitely offensively, because like you said, the defense, Big had his way with them all day long. Like no matter what he threw up, he was pretty much completing what he had 6 incompletions for the day, as you mentioned, 4 touchdowns. I'm not sure if this defense is something that can be fixed during the season. One, because it appears to be a personnel problem overall, and two, because it's been a issue for the last seasons and counting. Like you mentioned, the secondary is just not there. Um, the linebacking core got a little bit better. I know you texted me and said that Bobby Wagner looked old. He missed a key tackle on the drive that led to a touchdown, but he did look a little more improved a little bit later in the game. I did end up watching most of y'all's game because I had planned on watching Cowboys Browns, but I didn't realize that. Forgot y'all were playing on Fox at the late window. I thought I was going to see Tom Brady, but anyway, um, yeah. Don't worry though. You could sleep well each night this week, Ed, because go take a run during next week's game. I mean, y'all got it. Y'all got in the bag. Chill out, relax, do what you need to do, drink a beer, have a shot next week because y'all got the Giants, man. Y'all got the New York Giants.
Honestly, man, I don't know. I don't know.
Mm-mm. Trying to
What
tell
you
you,
used to
man.
say? If you need a win, play this team. Well,
That,
it's looking like the Commanders are our team. If you need a win, play us. So we'll see.
no. Mm-mm.
Someone's O's got to go. That's all I know. I don't know who's going to
It's
be.
either that or it's gonna be a tie like 6-6 heading to
Oh
the fourth
God.
quarter, and y'all gonna win it. I'm trying to tell you, cause it ain't working with New York, man. Uh, Trust me, y'all the better team than them for sure. That's all I got on Commanders Bucks.
All right. Well, let's go to your team, the Ravens and the Chiefs. Chiefs beat the Ravens 27-20 on our first game of the season, Thursday night football last week, which was on, wasn't that game on Peacock? Or it was on
Yeah, NBC and
NBC and it
Peacock.
was streaming
Yeah,
on Peacock too. Lamar, uh, he didn't play his best game. He didn't play his worst game, but definitely was not something I was happy with. Isaiah Likely, breakout performance for him. He did really good. Had a Kevin Durant moment where his foot was just on the line, and it cost him that touchdown at the end of the game that could have potentially tied it. Or it looked like Harbaugh was thinking about going for two, just try to get out there with the win. I would have really liked to see how that scenario would have played out. Chiefs, Xavier Worthy, he had 2 touchdowns as a rookie, first game. I think Patrick Mahomes got the ball from the referee or the the holder for him, so he can have that as a nice memento going into his career. I think he's going to be pretty good for them. It could be where he doesn't get a touchdown for another few weeks, or he could be a touchdown machine. I don't know how it goes. Rashee Rice, definitely their number one receiver. You guys kept Travis Kelce in check for the most part until they needed the play to happen, and then it's like, oh, reliable. We do a little wiggle, make a shake while Mahomes is extending the play, and he was able to get a first down when they needed to. So I definitely can see that going forward the rest of the season, where Kelsey might not have the biggest game, but the biggest moment, he'll find a way to get open, and Mahomes will look for him. Pacheco, he looked pretty good out there too. He had some nice bursts off his runs. But I really want to hear what you think about this game, Ravens and Chiefs, man. How you feeling?
Um, I mean, it's the night where they celebrated their Super Bowl win. I know they lost last year there against Detroit. I picked the Chiefs last year and I guaranteed that win, and I lost in my picks league with that. So I said I wasn't going to guarantee this one this year here, but I did pick them for sure. And plus, I don't think we always play our best in prime time. Um, I think I texted you before the game. It was in a rain delay, so I was like, man, we don't. You asked y'all don't play good in the rain. I was like, nah, indeed we don't. On top of it, I was really sick Thursday night, so I only saw about half of the first half and a little bit of the third quarter, and then I fell asleep, got some rest. But when I was watching, I noticed, and I think a lot of people did, we weren't utilizing Derrick Henry like you would thought we should have. Again, I'm not. Um, I wasn't gung ho when they went and signed Derrick Henry, but now that we got him, I gotta support the fact that we should be using him. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? There's no point of signing somebody like that the King Henry himself, and you don't use him. Uh, why was he so successful in Tennessee? He was on the field. Okay, as simple as that. And when he was on the field, they used him. He finished with 13 carries for 46 yards. Okay, make it make sense. And I'm surprised he even finished with that many yards. I thought it was less than that. Yes, he got an end zone on the first drive, but like I said, when I was watching, he was on the sideline, especially most of the second quarter. Man, that's the one of the first things I noticed um, during the second quarter. Then the offensive line, man. The right side, the right side was something I mentioned being an issue for us as a team heading into the preseason. Daniel Falehi is a tackle. I don't know what our coaching staff is thinking. They put him at right guard. He's been playing right guard all preseason. Um, I guess you could say the common sense thing would have said it would help by now. The practice makes perfect type situation, but it didn't. He's a really big, tall, really big, muscular guy. Like you don't have a bigger right guard than you have a bigger right tackle. That's, at least that's the way I was taught. Okay. Then we had little man Patrick McCarry, who's a jack of all trades. He's played every position on the offensive line for us as a fill-in, y'all, not as a starter, as a fill-in. He's the starting right tackle. Okay, right guard's just getting. I mean, the right side of the offensive line is just getting exposed all night long. So then I look. They take McCarry out and they put Rose Garden in. He's the rookie second or third round pick. We're really high on him. He played at University of Washington, had a great college career there. And then I look, okay, so I'm thinking we about to keep Rose Garden in for the rest of the game. They done took him out on the next damn drive and brought in McCarry again. And I'm like, what the fuck? This is exactly what we did last year with Ronnie Stanley. The only difference was Ronnie Stanley was banged up, so they was trying to, monitor his reps. They wasn't trying to keep him in too much. They was trying to bring him back slowly because he was just coming off a gruesome injury the year before. Figure out the starting five and stick with it, man. Unless it's an injury like last year with Ronnie Stanley, man. How are we supposed to build camaraderie when you got guys coming in and out the lineup? You try to figure this out. This should have been figured out back in the preseason, man. That's what you got preseason for. That's what you got training camp for, in my damn opinion. Defensively, though, I expected us to give us some big plays. It happens against everyone that plays Kansas City. I mean, it's just the offense they got. Like you said, Worthy scored twice. Rice finished over 100 yards. We knew he was going to get his. I'll take that. Going in this game, I want to shut down the run, and we did, honestly, for sure. 72 yards. Besides that, I mean, Xavier Worthy had that big 21-yard touchdown. Other than that, Pacheco, 45 yards. You can't ask for much better than that, honestly. We contained Kelsey, like you said. I mean, he had those 3 catches when he needed it the most, but for what he's done to us over his career, I'll take that 34 yards for sure. But everybody say we lost the game because of Isaiah Likely's toe. I don't think that's 100% the case because I know our bonehead coach would have tried to win the game on a 2-point conversion, and we would have lost it and got our hearts broken worse than it was. Isaiah Likely's toe, how close it was to win loss right there. I mean to touchdown, it was right there. Would have been how close we would have lost on the 2-point conversion. I know it would have happened like that. One, it was in Kansas City, and two, because we've lost games like that before trying to go for 2-point conversion, and we ended up losing. So yeah, in my Bill Belichick voice, we on to Las Vegas, man. Bring Vegas to Baltimore next week, and if they play like they did against the Chargers, we got a good shot for sure.
Especially with J.K. Dobbins was looking at. Chris Jones definitely
Oh
was wreaking
man,
havoc against y'all. I forgot to
yeah,
mention he was moving around all around the defensive line. He wasn't just playing D tackle; he was on the edge as well.
yep.
Definitely
Chris
making some noise
Jones
out there.
and George Karlaftis. I've always been high on those two men out there, and they definitely showed up on Thursday night for sure.
Yeah. All right, I want to get into what I think was upset of the week. Patriots beat the Bengals 16-10. Um, I think a lot of people going into this game had Bengals as, lock of the week, pick of the week T. Higgins didn't play. He's having a hamstring issue, and he was definitely missed. Joe Mixon is gone. He's over with the Texans now, and he had a hell of a game with them. They really wasn't running the ball like that. He's definitely missed. Jamar Chase, I don't think he practiced or played much in the preseason training camp, so he wasn't like 100% in shape. But also, just I think Gerard Mayo and the Pats just went out there and played ball. Jacoby Brissett didn't make any mistakes. He didn't have like great numbers, only had 121 yards passing, and he also rushed for 32 yards. But Ramondre Stevenson, workhorse, 25 carries, 120 yards, and a rushing touchdown. They didn't turn the ball over, and they contained Joe Burrow, who only had 164 passing yards. So just want to salute Gerard Mayo. He got his Gatorade bath after the game. It was pretty good. I never rooted for the Pats. I'm talking about I never rooted for the Pats. And this was like the first game I was watching. I was like, they got a real good shot of beating the Bengals. And they kind of won me over, and I was hoping they won, and they did. So salute to the Pats and Gerard Mayo. Hopefully Brissett can last. He was taking a couple of hits. I remember he took one good shot, and he was on the ground, went into pain for a little bit. I remember he played against Commanders in the preseason. He took a good shot where he had to leave the game. They put May in. So hopefully he can last the whole season. I know I read an article. The Brissett was saying before the game he was emotional. I think he said he cried about 3 times, like once on the way to the stadium, once before the game. Gerard Mayo said we're gonna go out there and beat those guys. He was like, a coach never gave him that type of confidence or said something like that to him. Don't quote me on that. I think that's what he said. Then once as he was going on to the field for the first drive. So it was definitely an emotional game for him. And I'm glad he was able to get a win against his old team as well. You got any thoughts on this game?
On an opposing team. Congratulations to the like you said, Gerard Mayo and the Patriots for a big win against a team that some people would consider as a AFC powerhouse when they're fully healthy. I, for one, was one of them that picked Cincinnati and locked Cincinnati in my picks league. I should have known better because I know Cincinnati is terrible in week 1. Excuse me, under Joe Burrow. All right. It started with an efficient run game for New England. Ramondre Stevenson, second quarter, he scored a touchdown, put them up 7-0. They ended up going up 10-0 lead into halftime. Cincinnati finally got on the board in the third. Clearly, they need wide receiver help. I think you mentioned the fact that they was missing. Is it T. Higgins that's still there? That was out. Yeah, T. Higgins. Yeah, and the run game still has concerns for me. I know Zach Moss did get in the end zone, but he's no Joe Mixon for sure. I think they could have definitely used somebody like Joe Mixon, but he's gone. It is what it is. Burrow did get a little banged up in the second half. I think it was his wrist, but I think that the thing that was really the turning point for them, definitely from a fan point of view, was the Tanner Hudson fumble. I mean, he was headed right into the end zone, was on the half-yard line. I think he kind of like threw his right arm up, almost like he was trying to celebrate, like put the ball out in a sense. Fumbled. Okay. Momentum swing. They took the ball back about a good 10 yards and they was doing their own thing. I can't name a wide receiver for New England, but they have 2 decent tight ends, 2 decent running backs, and a swarming defense. I think they could win a few games, coupled with the fact that they got a motivating head coach, like, kind of like how D'Amico Ryans did it last year in Houston, for sure. But as I mentioned, this is normal for Cincinnati in week 1. They always start slow and then they turn it on after getting embarrassed early on. Usually takes the first 2 to 3 weeks for them, honestly. And then they got Kansas City next week. So unfortunately, the Chiefs are about to go 2-0.
Got you.
All right, y'all. It was a pretty good game in Brazil on Friday night. This one was on Peacock. It was the Packers and Eagles. Ed, tell me your thoughts about this one.
Sloppy game. I forgot to mention this. Overall, this week was sloppy. A lot of penalties all over the place. And not just from the player standpoint, the referees too. There was a bunch of calls where they threw a flag, and then after replay review, after they consulted with the other referees, they would go back and say, actually, never mind, that wasn't a whatever we thought it was. So just a bunch of sloppiness going forward. But this game in particular, playing in Brazil, I think they played at a soccer stadium. So the field was way different than what they would play in a regular place. A lot of slipping and sliding going on, a lot of penalties going on. But the overall game, pretty action packed. I was shaking my head watching Saquon Barkley do his thing out there. He had 3 total touchdowns, rush for 2, and caught a nice ball from Jalen Hurts. I'm just thinking to myself, why the hell did the Giants let Saquon go, and why did they allow the Eagles to get him? I mean, come on. This team was already pretty good on offense with A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith. Now they got a really good running back behind them running the ball. I mean, I don't know. I only saw the first half of this game. I had to go out, so I didn't see the second half. But I saw that at the end of the game, Jordan Love went down with a knee injury. I believe they said it's an MCL sprain. He's going to miss. Hopefully, it's just 3 weeks, but I heard anywhere from 3 to 6 weeks. Jaden Reed, I called him. He said it kind of reminds me of Deebo Samuel, the way he can run after the catch. Definitely had a pretty good game. I think he ran for a touchdown. He also had 4 receptions over 100 yards and a touchdown too. I thought I think you mentioned it. We were talking about a little bit. The Eagles secondary still give us a little pause for concern, but in the end, I think they will eventually be better than they were last year. I like what I saw from the one rookie cornerback, Quinion Mitchell. He played pretty good. There were a couple plays he did get beat on. I think he had a couple pass interference, but he's a rookie. I am expecting him to have some growing pains, but that D line definitely made my eyes pop a little bit because I know they got some weapons. They got my guy over from the Jets now, Bryce Huff, I think is his name, if I'm not mistaken. Josh Sweat too. So I think the defense will eventually play a little better, and I'm honestly scared of this Eagles team just because the offense they got. I wasn't sold for some reason. I wasn't sold on AJ Brown, but he definitely still has big playability. And then Devontae Smith, if AJ Brown's not open, then Devontae Smith is open. And if he's not open, there's always Dallas Goedert. And now you got Saquon Barkley who can run and catch. And then who knows, Jahan Dotson. I'm still convinced he's gonna break out with the Eagles. Seems like the Commanders players, they go off the greener pastures once they leave the damn team. So I won't be surprised if he has a game or two for the Eagles as well. But overall, sloppy game from the standpoint of the field being slippery. Bunch of plays or guys fell on the ground. And then Jalen Hurts, my only concern with him still is he has some turnovers. He had 2 interceptions and 1 fumble loss. So I don't know if that's going to be a revolving door with him or if he can get that under control with hanging on to the ball. But this Eagles team definitely looks for real out there. And I don't know what the Packers are going to do while Jordan Love is out. Hopefully they can, stay afloat a little bit, win a game or two while he's out. But I don't know. They might be 0-4, 0-5 by the time he's back. We'll see. What you think about this game?
What it appeared to be a shootout, but like you said, it was just very sloppy overall. Hurts lost fumble, pair of interceptions. Jordan Love threw a costly interception as well. It was like a bonehead type play for sure. But the difference was, like you said, the Philadelphia run game with Saquon and how he was able to get in the end zone. What he had, 4 total touchdowns? Was it 3?
Saquon, 3.
3 total touchdowns. He was about to get 4. I think they fumbled down there, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, Green Bay's run defense is still a liability. It was a problem all last season. Philadelphia's pass defense still trash. Okay, I think they'll improve, like you said, because of the young guys that they have. But it's definitely going to take some time for sure. Green Bay definitely looked worn out by the end of the game. They needed that final Philadelphia drive. They needed to stop them several times, and they could not. And Philadelphia just ran the clock down to less than a minute, and it just wasn't enough there for Green Bay to come back. And then that's how, of course, Jordan Love got spun around and his ankle was twisted. Tough break for my MVP selection. And then it was even tougher when I realized that Malik Willis was the backup quarterback, and they got to probably deal with him for the next God, I hope it's not 6 weeks up there in Green Bay for real, for real. I mean, I liked him in Tennessee early on, but nah, he's not a Jordan Love for sure. Um, yeah, the Eagles, they do though host the Falcons next week. They've been historically good against the Falcons to way back when we was in high school. So I think that'll be another good one. And a probably an easy win for them. And it's at the link. You know, those fans are going to be rocking for sure. So yeah, I like Philadelphia to continue with the early success that they typically do, starting undefeated and going several weeks without a loss for sure.
All right, gonna go down to Florida. Jags and the Dolphins. Really good game. We talked about earlier about Tyreek and his running with the cops down there. I think that gave him a little extra motivation going into the game. He scored that touchdown and had that celebration where he put his hands behind his back, and Jalen Waddle walked behind him, kind of act like he was getting arrested. I thought that was pretty funny and neat.
Yeah.
The game overall, the Jags came out at first. I think they were up 17-7 at one point, but the Dolphins defense finally stood their ground. There was a costly fumble right as Travis Etienne was about to score. He fumbled right on the goal line as soon as he's about to cross the plane. I think that kind of helped the Dolphins win the game overall. Tua came in there. That passing attack for the Dolphins, man. Again, Jalen Waddle and Tyreek both had over 100 yards receiving. Tyreek had that one big catch for 80 yards where I was talking about that touchdown celebration. Devin A-Chain, great as a rusher and as a catcher. Pretty explosive at it when he has the ball in his hand. So they got three really good speedsters out there. Really good game overall. Kind of a pedestrian game, though, for Trevor Lawrence. He only had 162 passing yards. He did have a touchdown to the rookie Brian Thomas, who looked pretty good out there. I think he had 4 catches for 47 yards. I think he's going to be pretty good for them going forward. But this was a pretty good game going back and forth until the Dolphins won it at the end of the game with that field goal. Did you see any of this game at all, man?
Greg, Quag, Nate Burleson voice. That touchdown you mentioned for Tyreek Hill on the sideline. I mean, legit looked like a couple times he could have been out of bounds, but next thing you know, he was in the end zone. It's almost guaranteed any Dolphins game that he's going to get over 100 yards receiving. 80 of them came on that spectacular touchdown. Uh, it didn't start easy though for Miami. Like you said, the defense was dominating the first half. They gave up a touchdown to rookie wide receiver Brian Thomas, the first rounder there for the Jaguars, Travis Etienne, and he also scored a touchdown as well. Um, but then, they came alive in the second half thanks to Hill and Waddle. Both finished over 100 yards, and then Jason Sanders sealed it as the time expired to avoid overtime down there in South Beach. Honestly, it looks like, in my opinion, that Trevor Lawrence is missing Calvin Ridley. Christian Kirk and Evan Ingram, I think, kind of let him down, honestly, for sure. Evan Ingram, one catch for 5 yards, and was it Christian Kirk, one catch for 30 yards. Both of them had at least 4 times the ball came their way, and they didn't pull it down. But kudos to this Miami defense under the new defensive coordinator, former Raven, Anthony Weaver. Kind of forget how good their corners are down there as well. I think they're going to make some strides to have a defense be just as good, hopefully, as their offense. If you're a Dolphins fan, for sure. But yeah, good game with some unfortunate events before the game. So good. It came out in a winning column there for the Dolphins. In again in what happened in pregame. All right, turning our attention to the Texans and the Colts. We both thought this was going to be a good one there in Indianapolis. You had the AFC South winners and the Texans uh, going up against Anthony Richardson back on the field for the first time since Week 5 in 2023. Did you see any of this one?
Yeah, man. I think this could be I don't want to say rivalry, but they are in the same division. So I think this could be a good rivalry for years to come. Got two really young quarterbacks going back and forth, both talented in their own different ways. Anthony Richardson is a physical specimen. He had that one 60-yard bomb to Alec Pierce. I don't know how many air yardage it was, but it was his deep ball is a thing of beauty, man. And then he had this run rushing touchdown where he kind of I don't want to say Big Ben because he's way faster than Big Ben, but it looks like it's hard to bring him down because he can break tackles and he can go through contact. I guess it's more like Cam Newton, but I think he might be a little faster than Cam as well. But this dude is a physical brick house freak show, man. Jonathan Taylor, he didn't really do too much. He did have his touchdown. But I want to go over to the Texans side of the ball. Stephon Diggs made his debut with the Texans. He had 2 touchdowns. Both of them were short catches. He only had 33 yards receiving, if I'm not mistaken. But those catches were very important. The final touchdown was on like a 4th and 10 or a 4th and goal, and late in the game they needed that. And then Joe Mixon, as we talked about earlier with the Bengals, workhorse, 30 carries or 159 yards and a touchdown, and he had the game sealing first down. Back and forth game overall, though. CJ Stroud was just a little bit better. Anthony Richardson had that one interception, and that turnover probably at the end of thing was the straw that broke the camel's back. But this game going forward, I can't wait till they play again. I can't wait for them to play years to come. Hopefully they can play in the playoffs too. I think this is going to be a huge rivalry going forward, man. What did you think of this game?
The only concerns for me with the Houston Texans, that offensive line, CJ Stroud went down 4 times. I think he was sacked that many times in week 1 last year against the Ravens as well. We also took him to the ground as much. And like I mentioned, that center of that offensive line was some concerns. So hopefully they shore things up there. Great pickup with Stephon Diggs. Obviously, we all saw that coming. 2 touchdowns in his debut. Nico Collins back, killing it, over 100 yards. Joe Mixon, as I mentioned, that Cincinnati game, I think they was missing him for sure. 30 carries, like you said, 159 yards and a touchdown. But if I'm a Colts fan, I'm keeping my head up high. We know we got a special quarterback in Anthony Richardson. We know Jonathan Taylor can turn it on anytime. We saw him get in the end zone as well, 16 carries for 48 yards. And then they was talking about Ashton Dulin as well on the NFL Network. And I see he only had 1 reception for 54 yards, but it also went in for a touchdown.
Right.
So, yeah, Colts fans, keep your heads up high. I still got them finishing, I think it's 2nd place in the AFC South. After this one, clean up a little bit, and they'll be all right.
Gotcha. Yeah, they definitely will have some better days ahead of them. Let's get into this Sunday night game last night. A bunch of good games over this weekend, man. This is just another one of them. Lions beat the Rams 26-20. Game of ebb and flows. It looked at first like the Rams would win this game, but injury bugs started hitting them hard. I mean, they lost like 3 offensive linemen. They had to shuffle around their offensive line. And then Puka Nacua went down with that knee injury. I think they said right now he's going to be out for 4 weeks. The Lions rushing attack, man, they got 2 really good running backs. David Montgomery had the game-winning touchdown in overtime. And then Jahmyr Gibbs, another guy, 1-2 punch. These are 2 number 1 running backs, in my opinion. It seems like one guy will go on for a series or 2, and the next guy, he'll come out for a series or 2, or one guy will have his quarter, and the next guy will have his quarter. I know in the 4th quarter, it looked like Jahmyr Gibbs was the main guy, and then overtime came, and David Montgomery was the running back that they chose, and they definitely beat up on that Rams D-line. At the end of the game, you could tell they were super tired. Lions offensive line was pushing them around at the end of the game. David Montgomery was being a brute, was pushing his way forward, getting extra yardage as well. Like what I saw from the Lions defense, I know Cooper Kupp did his thing, 14 catches for 110 yards and a touchdown, but I think that Lions secondary is a little bit improved. The cornerback Terrion Arnold out of Alabama, he had a couple of good plays out there. He definitely had his welcome to the NFL moment too, covering Cooper Kupp, but I think going forward, he'll have some better days out there. Aiden Hutchinson was definitely being a pest to Matthew Stafford. But I do want to give the Rams some credit. I thought at one point that the Lions were going to blow this game open the way the Rams were starting to look out there with the offensive line issues they had. But Matt Stafford showed why he won the Super Bowl. He had a one play. Chris Collinsworth was gushing over it. He was like, "Oh my God, could be throw of the year," where he made a throw for a first down. It wasn't a look away. You could see he was using his eyes. He didn't really move his head, but he made a nice throw with a pressure coming down on him for a first down. I think at one point they had the lead, and then the Rams or the Lions had to come back to tie it, if I'm not mistaken. I might have got it flipped if I am mistaken. But the Rams definitely prove they are a good team and are formidable with anyone as long as Matthew Stafford can stay healthy. My only concern is, will they stay healthy? There's a bunch of injuries all over the NFL, and they definitely lost a blow with that Puka Nacua injury and those offensive linemen that got hurt. I think some of the linemen who got hurt are going to be out multiple weeks as well. So I'm not too sure how they'll fare without those linemen in there, because definitely before the offensive linemen got hurt, they were able to run the ball a little bit better than they were after those injuries. Kyren Williams didn't really do too much damage to the Lions, but before that, he might have been able to play a little bit better. But yeah, man, this is an overall great game. What did you think of this game?
Actually, as I told you off air, but yeah, the Rams with Puka Nacua, I think they're gonna be hurting a little bit without him. Tough break for a guy that just had a stellar um, rookie season. I did notice that. I think I did actually watch the first few minutes of it. Uh, the Rams defensive line, despite losing obviously Aaron Darnold, one of the world's greatest defensive players, they were holding their own at least early on from what I saw. But from the Lions standpoint, when you have a defense that kind of keeps Amon-Ra St. Brown and Sam Laporta in check, and now you got to worry about Jameson Williams. Good luck. Good luck to those teams that got to play them. And as you mentioned, the two running backs that are back for the year two together, David Montgomery and Jameer Gibbs. And if Jared Goff continues to play, for the most part, mistake-free football, they're obviously going to be formidable there in the NFC North and the NFC overall. Of course, coming off an NFC championship appearance there in 2023. So yeah, let's turn our attention to our player awards for week one. Offensive player of the week. Who you got?
I was gonna give it to your boy Baker Mayfield in Tampa Bay, but I think I'm gonna go with Josh Allen. He had 4 total touchdowns. While the game for the Tampa Bay, Baker, they needed those touchdowns. I think the Josh Allen, his touchdowns a little bit more needed for them. They were in a closer game against Arizona. So I'm gonna give it to Josh Allen for his 4 total touchdowns. He had 2 rushing and 2 passing. What about you?
Derek Carr. I never thought
Oh
he would
wow.
be my week one offensive player of the week, but he had himself a game, in my opinion. 19 for 23, 200 yards, and 3 touchdowns. Of course, it was against the Panthers. I know everyone, but he still put up the stats because it could have been the opposite way, honestly, with the way he played last year. So I got to give him his credit where credit is due. Derek Carr, my offensive player of the week. Defensive player of the week. Who you got?
I'm gonna give it to a Cowboy. Unfortunately, Eric Kendricks. He had 9 total tackles, 2 sacks, and 1 interception. So Eric Kendricks of the Cowboys is my defensive player of the week. How about you?
I mean, honestly, is there any question here? TJ Watt, 4 tackles, 3 quarterback hits, a sack, a fumble recovery, a bunch of other plays that didn't show up on the stat line. Like I think I had this game on split screen in the 1 o'clock game, and every time I look up, he was coming damn near within a hair, honestly, of the opposing quarterback down there in Atlanta for sure. So yeah, TJ Watt, my defensive player of the week. Special teams player of the week.
I would have gave it to the kicker for the Cowboys, Brandon Aubrey, who made the 66-yard field goal, but
Got called back.
they got called back, delayed game,
Yep.
because the bonehead coach didn't want to call a timeout while the play clock was running down. So I got to give it to Chris Boswell, who had 6 field goals. He went 6 for 6. He scored every point basically for the Steelers. So I gotta give it to Chris Boswell.
I'm going with Jason Sanders down there in Miami. 2 field goals within the final 5 minutes, including the game winner to avoid overtime down there. Tough day for the Miami Brass, but he took it home down there in South Beach. Bonehead play, call, whatever of the week. Who you got? What you got going on?
My bonehead play of the week goes to my guy, Will Levis of the Titans. I'm going to share my screen with you guys real quick just so you can see how he looked out there. He's a new meme. As you
Oh
can
my
see,
god.
he's on his knees,
Okay.
hands on his head after he threw that interception where he's basically getting sacked. And he decided to just pitch a ball out there, hoping for luck. But yeah, definitely didn't turn out his favor. Bonehead play of the week. They were talking about it on First Take this morning too. Dan Orlovsky was talking about it. I was like, yeah, man, that's almost as bad as my when I was in Detroit and I ran out the back of the end zone. So yeah, Will Levis, you got my bonehead play of the week, buddy. Salute to you.
Lofsky is one to talk for sure with his running out of the end zone, but I'm glad he compared himself for sure. But of course, for me, it's no where else but besides Ravens Chiefs, man. 9:45 left in the second quarter. We're down 10-7. And I should have done my preparation a little bit better because I should have had this play playing on replay while I'm talking so y'all can reflect and remember this moment. But anyway, I'm gonna try to paint the scene for you. 4th and 3 from the 50. Baltimore's got the ball. Todd Monken calls some sort of idiotic scrunch formation. Nelson Aguilar splits out to the right, about 4 yards away from the right tackle, or whoever the hell was on the end at that point. McDuffie is covering him. Zay Flowers was hiding behind the right guard like this. Okay. Just down, right? Okay. Lamar takes a snap, rolls out to the right, throws it to Flowers behind the line of scrimmage. Now we need 4 yards now, 4 yards, and you going behind the line of scrimmage against the Kansas City fast defense now. Okay, McDuffie blows it up. Apparently Aguilar missed the block altogether on Trent McDuffie, but Todd Monken, why the fuck would you call a play like that designed to go to Flowers behind the line of scrimmage? You need 4 yards. What happened to the Brandon Simpson Madden slant play? Just run all four wide receivers slants into the middle, and you got four different damn options, and you still got a running back or a tight end to throw it to as a backup.
Yeah, I know,
Man,
man.
I'd say they drive me crazy sometimes, boy. They drive me crazy.
All right, let's get into these other scores of the week real quick, shall we? We had the Steelers hold off the Falcons 18-10. The Bears beat the Titans 24-17. First time a quarterback making his debut, who was the first overall pick since I believe it was David Carr, which was 23 or in 2002. Caleb Williams won his debut game. Although honestly, he was just on the field. He only had like 92 passing yards. He didn't really do much. It was more of the special teams and the defense who got the job done. But yeah, salute to the Bears. Mentioned earlier with the Derek Carr as your Offensive Player Award. Saints crushed the Panthers 47-10. The Vikings beat the dog shit out the Giants 28-6. I mean, they had Sam Darnold looking like what the Jets wanted him to be. Had him looking like an all-pro future Hall of Famer out there. Chargers, they get their first win on the hard ball against Las Vegas 22-10. J.K. Dobbins looked really good, man. He looked really, really good, and I think he's only going to get better. He said he was a little bit out of shape, and that's the only reason he got caught multiple times as he made big runs. Seahawks beat the Broncos 26-20 in Bo Nix debut. He threw an interception in that game as well. And then the Cowboys went into the dog pound and dominated the Browns 33-17. Deshaun Watson was getting deservedly ripped for his performance out there. He just looked abysmal, throwing a ball into the stands almost. It seemed like just not a good game for him. They definitely missed Nick Chubb, who's out for the next 4 weeks. Jerome Ford did the best he could, but yeah, man, it wasn't good. I think David Njoku went down in this game as well. But yeah, you got any thoughts of any of these scores for these games I just mentioned?
Steelers Falcons. When I found out that Russell Wilson was going to play, I changed my pick. Excuse me, that he
Justin
wasn't going to
Fields.
play.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Justin Fields was starting. I changed my pick to the Steelers. Everybody thought it definitely in my picks league. They all thought that Atlanta was going to come out and win that game, and I think a lot of people on TV thought that they was going to blow out the Steelers. Honestly, do I think this Steelers offense is fixed? No. Do I still trust the offensive coordinator? Hell no. Okay. He did have a little bit of motivation because he was playing his former team,
Arthur Smith.
but um, this team comes out and plays hard under Mike Tomlin. They will finish above 500. They could make a push for the AFC North um, standings. Honestly, if Cincinnati doesn't figure out the wide receiver and running back position, and Cleveland keep playing like that with Deshaun Watson, um, Steelers could definitely make some more noise in the AFC North. And then, um, of course, I got to talk about this Giants game, man. Um, it, I actually, I was, I was surprised that someone else did pick the Vikings with me in my picks league. I didn't even have to think about this game. I ain't no way in hell I was gonna pick the Giants for this one. Okay, they talk about the Minnesota secondary, this and that, but guess what? They still got Justin Jefferson. Yes, he didn't score his typical. I mean, he didn't get his typical 11 or double-digit receptions, 100 plus yards, but still, okay. When you got Daniel Jones out there at quarterback, the other team has an elevated chance of winning. Okay. It just, man, like you said, you texted me and I didn't see any of this game live because I was watching split screen Steelers, Falcons, and whoever else was on CBS. I think it was the Bengals game, Bengals and Patriots, man. But you said Daniel just threw Danny Dimes just threw a pick six. I said, well, should have known. Typical. What else? What else is new? I mean, it's gonna be a long season for them. Honestly, they should consider firing Brian Daboll after that one. The last two season openers, 6 combined points scored, and the 6 was in this game
I'm about
here
to
because they
say,
got
yes.
blown the hell out 40-0 against Dallas last year. I mean, it's nothing works. And then you know what's crazy, and then I'm done here, and I'll toss it to you. Somebody I saw on Friday or Saturday on a pregame, they was like giving some fantasy tips, and they was like, which rookie wide receiver is going to put up the best stat line? And they said Malik Neighbors, and I about spit out my damn drink. Y'all really think this man is going to go off in week 1 with his damn quarterback, Daniel Jones? 5 receptions, 66 yards. Okay, he did better than what I expected, but still, come on now. All right, which of these games caught your attention?
Yeah, piggyback off the neighbors. He wasn't exactly thrilled after the game either when they were asking
I believe it.
his thoughts on the game. Daniel Jones, he was getting booed walking out the stadium too. But
Yep.
just quick for me, the Falcons game, Kirk Cousins did not look good at all. I think that had a lot to do with the Steeler defense, but he looked old out there. Didn't look good. I was expecting a little bit more from him, but I guess he's just rusty coming off that Achilles injury, which I thought he came back a little quick from, in my opinion, but hopefully he gets better. I think you said they play the Eagles next week. It's probably going to go 0-2 just off the way he played this week,
Yeah.
but maybe he'll have a little bit more umph in his step next week. But yeah, he looked old out there. He looked washed. I wouldn't be surprised if he gets hurt and Michael Penix comes in and plays better than him. And they're like, damn, why the hell we even signed Kirk Cousins? So yeah, definitely interesting to see how he's going to look going forward. All right, the game is currently going on right now, but Monday Night Football, we got the Jets at the Niners. Score is currently 7-3. Jets winning. Brees Hall lost a fumble at first, but then he made it up for it. He scored a touchdown. 49ers currently got the ball. Got about a minute and 50 seconds left in the first quarter right now. The Niners driving down the field. I think they're in like a 3rd and 5 right now. My heart is going with the Jets, and also my mind right now is with the Jets, just because Christian McCaffrey is not playing this
Yep.
game with the calf/Achilles injury. So I like the Jets in this one. What about you? How you think this game will go?
agree. I picked the Niners in my picks league, but when it came down that Christian McCaffrey uh, is going to be out, I didn't change because everybody in my picks league picked San Fran, and I currently have the best record um, from a loss standpoint because I think I'm whatever in two I am right now. But anyway, when I saw that Christian McCaffrey went out, yeah, my mindset went to the Jets. I would like to see Aaron Rodgers as well win after what he went through last year. It's good to see that obviously he's out there now. So and it's very hard traveling coast to coast, uh, especially in prime time and having to play. And then they're doing it now. So we'll see how they hold up heading into the second half. But yeah, I think without Christian McCaffrey, we know how San Fran is when they don't have one of their stars or multiple of their stars. I'm not even sure if Trent Williams is back. I know they signed him or whatever, but I'm not sure if he's starting. But yeah, obviously the other guys are out there, Ayuk and Debo and everybody is signed and Kittle. But we'll see how it goes. So yeah, if I had to pick right now, I'm going with the Jets.
Gotcha.
All right, everyone. Week one, just about in the books. Just about a half of football left there at Santa Clara. We will be back later this week to discuss the Thursday night football game, big one, Bills and Dolphins from South Beach, as well as the remaining 15 games on the week two slate. Until next time, love one another.